What's going on, guys? Robert from Robert Was Here, and today I have a new video for you guys, and this is going to be why I don't support Dragon Ball Super. Um, Now I'll go ahead and give you the TLDW, or Too Long Didn't Watch. Why don't I support Dragon Ball Super? Spends 27 episodes retelling movies, likely to increase DVD/Blu-ray sales. 2. Quality of animation is lacking. 3. Doesn't respect DBZ lore. I give an example of this in the video. Number 4, new transformations are lazy reskins, likely to increase merchandise sales. And 5 is screwing over gamers with DLC, likely to increase digital sales. Dragon Ball Super seems more interested in sales than telling a worthwhile story, thus making it a cheap cash grab, in my opinion. And is shaping up to be worse than Dragon Ball GT, which isn't as bad as people say. Well, that's my 2 cents. Do you support Dragon Ball Super? Please discuss in the comment section below. And now that the people with the low attention spans are gone, we're about to begin my video. Okay, guys, let's get into it. Those who know me probably know me as the Deadpool guy, but long before that, I was known as the Dragon Ball guy. In fact, back in grade school, people associate the show with me because of how much I enjoyed this show. I used to draw it all the time. They used to call me like the artist. There was a little, those little games you play when you start school, when you're in grade school to try to like break the ice with the students. There was a little quiz, and if I'd have put I like Dragon Ball Z, they would have known who it was immediately. So I put Outlaw Star instead. I used to draw Dragon Ball Z pictures. That's how I learned how to draw. I looked at Dragon Ball Z style when I would have people print off pictures for me, and I would try to copy it. Or I would like watch the VHS tapes and pause it and then try to draw the scene. So there's a couple of things. I collected so many cards. Whenever there was like those little Dragon Ball Z card packs, I used to beg my mom to buy them for me. I bought the trading cards that I never played. I have a lot of cool cards. I enjoyed the artwork. I used to get the magazines way back when, the Beckett magazines. I remember we bought one when we was at the mall, and I begged my mom to subscribe for me so I could get this Cell toy and get the magazines that came out monthly, and I would look forward to them every month that they would come out. Toys, I had a crap ton. I can't tell you how many freaking Goku figures I have. I still have them. I don't have them displayed, but I still have all my Dragon Ball Z toys. My favorite being one of the ones pictured now, Goku with the tear-off shirt thing, Super Saiyan. That was my favorite figure. And even before I knew what Dragon Ball was, I did have that figure on the left with Goku with the tail and the power pole. I remember playing with that and taking off his hair, and it was Krillin. So I was into Dragon Ball before I even knew what Dragon Ball was, essentially. And now I got some other toys you might have seen in the stores if you was around my age. I also had these as well from Burger King. I used to go to Burger King and try to get the toys. I got the card that came with it. Went to Burger King twice, in fact. When they brought back Dragon Ball Z toys, you're darn right I went to go get some more. Also, I got my Z Warriors Prepare VHS tape from Burger King. Because back in the day with Dragon Ball Z, you used to get the VHS tapes and you would line them together and it would show an image that would represent what saga you were collecting. That's the pictures I have showing. I had a crap ton of Dragon Ball crap, guys. Like, seriously. Like little handheld devices, like the one that went to the TV and like it had like a ping pong and stuff. I would go on the computer and I would go to CartoonNetwork.com and I would play the Dragon Ball games available there. There was also the homebrew Mugen games. I played those. I had it on mini consoles like the Game Boy Advance with Legendary Super Warriors, which is really fun. Underrated. It's a really great game. The Legacy of Goku, of course. A lot of people had that. Then onto the PSP, I had Shin Budokai 1 and 2. For the PlayStation 2, I had Super Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 1, 2, 3, Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3. On the PlayStation 3, I, of course, had Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit, and it was freaking awesome, and I hate that they only made one and they never made a sequel. Raging Blast 1 and 2. Um, so in a sense, you could say like my childhood was intimately tied with Dragon Ball from middle school to grade school to middle school to junior high, and even when I got into high school, where a lot of people started to distance themselves from like animes and cartoons, and they tried to get into like girls and stuff and sports. I had my journey from being pretty much a loser in track, starting from 8th grade year to my freshman year, to eventually becoming one of the fastest runners at my school. And it was heavily influenced and inspired by, yes, that's right, Dragon Ball Z. This quote that I have from Goku is one of my favorite quotes ever, and it definitely motivated me to keep running, even when all the people said I sucked. And even in college, I don't have as many Dragon Ball shirts as I do Deadpool shirts, but I do proudly rep my Dragon Ball shirts when I could. I think I only have like 3 or 4 shirts. A lot of my other shirts I've grown out of, sadly, because I've grown. But to say I'm just a Dragon Ball Z fan after being a fan since at least the year 2000 would be an understatement. I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, borderline fanboy. But there comes a time when you must ask yourself, do I like this because it's actually good, or because I'm a fan and I'm supposed to like it? And this is where cognitive dissonance comes into play. And this is where you see the difference between a fan and a fanboy. And pretty much this is what sums it up. This little picture with the heart and the brain. This is what it's like to be like a fan of something, but trying to be critical of it. So, here are some things that I purchased and or had my parents purchase that was Dragon Ball related, but actually kind of sucked. The first is Bio Brawly. I do like that picture, man. I had a printed picture of it, and it was small, and I would try to like draw it. But that movie was awful. I did not enjoy it at all. Ultimate Battle 22 and or Ultimate Battle 27 if you use like a little cheat code to get the 5 extra characters. It was $10 at Toys R Us, and I honestly regret purchasing it. I mean, the artwork looks cool on the cover, but the game is just, it's bad. Dragon Ball Taiketsu, it was a Christmas gift, and I was a Dragon Ball fan, so what would you get a Dragon Ball fan? Obviously a Dragon Ball game, so I tried to play it, I tried to get into it, but I just did not enjoy this game at all. And Dragon Ball Z Sagas. I actually got this when my brother was getting a game that was not well known, but it was called God of War. He was talking about how good it was gonna be, and I was sitting there like, nope, give me Dragon Ball Z Sagas. No, like seriously, I made a huge mistake here. Let me provide the context of this story. Me and my brother went to Walmart in order to go get these games, because my brother would actually take me the day the games came out. My parents, they might wait a couple of days. You know, you're impatient, like, I want the game now. So he would take me on the day that they would come out. And I remember that we were in the aisle, and he was like, I want to get God of War because I think this is going to be a good game. And then he was like, do you want Dragon Ball Z Sagas or do you want to get God of War? And I told him Dragon Ball Z Sagas. I told him that. As a 14-year-old, I literally chose Dragon Ball Z Sagas over God of War. And this kills me because God of War was an excellent game. I played it after playing through Sagas and being pretty much disappointed. Being in denial at the time. But these games came out on the exact same day. And my brother asked me which one did I want. And I would have not have played God of War if he did not buy that game for himself. So, why did I buy Dragon Ball Z Sagas? Because it was co-op. I figured I could play with my cousin, you know? 2 players. It'll be fun. To the freaking boss battles where they have timed intervals where you play as the same character. You'll play as like the character for a second, and your screen will start flashing, and then I switch over to player 2, and then he controls the character. That's stupid. But I digress. Pretty much, there are times when you have to ask yourself as a fan, do I like this because it's actually good, or is it because I'm a fan and I'm supposed to like it? And there were times where I just did not play with it. I was like, nope, not at all. I'm not giving you my money. I'm not giving you my support. Forget this. And one of those times was Dragon Ball Evolution. That movie looked awful as soon as I heard it was being made. As soon as I seen some footage from it, I was like, no, just no. And I have not seen the movie since. Like, I've seen a little bit of it on Xbox, but I have not seen that movie through and through yet. The game tie-in for it? No. Not even. I'm not paying money for that crap. Dragon Ball Z, Battle of Z. I remember Battle of Gods came out, and I was like, hey, they got the new Super Saiyan God form. And I looked at some gameplay for it, and then I looked at a review, and I was like, nope, not at all. I'm not spending my money on this. And I seen they had a little crossover thing with Naruto where they gave Goku Naruto's clothes. Felt like that was a downgrade to me personally, but whatever. I did not get that game, and I have not heard anything good about that game. Dragon Ball Ultimate Tenkaichi looked awesome. I wanted to get this game, but when I found out it was pretty much rock, paper, scissors, I was like, oh, heck no. I play Dragon Ball Z games to fight, not to play rock, paper, scissors. I'm pretty sure some of you are wondering what the heck this has to do where I don't support Dragon Ball Super. Well, this is my full disclosure, showing you how much of a fan of Dragon Ball I am from all the stuff that I just told you. And now we are getting to the point of why I do not support Dragon Ball Super, even though I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. So let's go ahead and get into it. Why I don't support Dragon Ball Super? It sucks. Now, I'm sure some of you might be thinking, hey man, you're being a little rash. You know, have you watched the show? Have you given it a chance? Well, let's go ahead and go through my 3 strikes. I typically give things 3 strikes out of courtesy, and after that 3rd strike, I say, forget this object, forget this movie, forget this thing, I am done with it. Strike 1, 27 episodes retell the 2 recent movies that came out. So, you know, when Dragon Ball GT ended, it was like the end of an era. For me, I was like, wow, this show I've been watching for what feels like forever is over now. There are no more new episodes. There are no more new movies. I've seen it all. I've experienced it all. It's over. There was a little sense of sadness. It was bittersweet. I still remember watching the last episode with my family in a room together, and I was like, wow, that's it. The Dragon Ball's over. You know, Goku's flying off into the sky now. So, after 10 years, they decide not to make new content, but to retell the movies from 2013 and 2015. And they spent 14 episodes retelling the events of Battle of Gods, and then 13 episodes retelling the events of Revival of F, or Revival of Frieza. And why is this an issue? Because new Dragon Ball content doesn't even come until episode 28. That's 28 episodes in. So you know those first 27. If you've seen those 2 movies, they're not really doing anything for you. It's redundant. And you know, I went and tried to give the show a chance despite them retelling the movies. And I went to the Dragon Ball Week and I was reading how they were making some minor differences, and then they said that Goku was going to fight Bills in Super Saiyan 2 form, unlike in the movie where he just pretty much went straight to 3. And I was like, what? He goes Super Saiyan 2? Now I got to see this. I'm gonna check this out. I'm gonna see the fight and see what happens after Dragon Ball comes back with new animation or whatever. So then I'm like, yeah, let me go check out this fight. And I see Super Saiyan 2 Goku. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be great. And then I was wondering, is this what the new Dragon Ball has to offer? Because if it is, I'm disappointed. Because, oh my gosh, man. Everywhere I look, people were talking about how bad the animation is. And I have stills from the fight here. And you're looking at it like, this is not done by professionals. This is something fan-made, obviously. No, done by professionals. The pictures that you see on the screen, that's what that fight was. And I know some of you might be like, ah, man, it's not that serious, right? If it wasn't that serious, why did Akira Toriyama himself express a dissatisfaction with the animation in Dragon Ball Super? That is right. The creator of Dragon Ball himself had to speak out on how poor the animation quality was. And just so you guys who don't like know that much about Dragon Ball if you're watching this, I don't even know why you'd be watching this. Here's a comparison picture from an old picture of Super Saiyan 3 Goku to a new one, and you're wondering like, what the heck, man? It's been some time since y'all like have this down to a science by now. Strike 2. Honestly, the fights lack impact and are overall meh. You know, that first fight with Beerus, it was an early fight, you know, so maybe they just hadn't got their stride yet. It was like, you know what, we're a little rusty, we're trying to warm up. And I was like, okay, you know, Dragon Ball Z had some moments that looked a little weird, like the one in the Super Saiyan 2 Goku versus Majin Vegeta fight. They had some weird moments in there. So, I'm going to explain what impact is, pretty much. Impact is when pretty much one character hits the crap out of the other character, and they just make this funny face, like they start spitting out blood. You can notice it from like the Saiyan saga to the Frieza saga, the Cell saga and Android saga, and up into the Boo saga. And if you look, it's in GT as well. This is also in Dragon Ball Z games. These are the moves that don't do a lot of damage, but when you hit someone with it, it's so satisfying. Like the fight stops a little bit and it's like, oh, I just hit the crap out of you, man. And honestly, when I looked at the Resurrection of F movie, that's what it lacked. Like Goku and Frieza's fight, it seemed like they were playing around, and those impact blows from the show were absent despite the bigger budget. I'm assuming they had more money for this movie. And if you want to learn more about that, I got a whole review for Resurrection of F that you can go check out. So that's what I mean by lack of impact. What do I mean by meh? It's difficult to explain, but I can show it to you pretty easily. If you want to participate, search for this in YouTube. Go look for the fight with Trunks versus Black. Let's go look for that fight. Then afterwards, go watch this fight I don't think is meh, from another recent anime, One Punch Man. Saitama versus the Subterraneans. The scenario: if you had enough money for only one DVD or Blu-ray, which one would you drop your money on? Based on the clip that you watched with Trunks versus Black and Saitama versus the Subterraneans. So, you know, please let me know in the comments. As for myself, no contest. One Punch Man. Why? Simple. If you break it down to how much action is going on in the scene, One Punch Man gives me 4 minutes of action and or fighting, and the Trunks vs. Black only gives 2 minutes, give or take, of action and or fighting. So yeah, I pretty much am basing this on action and or fighting alone, because I am a 90s kid, and when I grew up, action shows used to have action. Like they used to be action packed most of the time. They give you money's worth. Plus, Dragon Ball is known for its action. It's supposed to be one of the best action animes ever made. One of the best. Not the best, one of the best. Before someone jumps in to try to misquote me. Also, we're not even going to mention how Dragon Ball Super's impact is, because this pretty much sums it up here. Seriously, go back and look at that fight again if you haven't looked at it. And you will see these 4 images that I've taken, at least these 4 images, and they'll hold them there and they'll just kind of shake them a little bit. And it's like, oh man, he hit him so hard. Here's a still image. We're putting a little motion to it. Looks like we're taking a still image that's moving it, and then we're going to shake it a little bit to be like, oh man, it's so intense. Like seriously, you're not going to be able to unsee it. So, if I ruined it for you, my bad. While a good narrative is important in shows, I'll watch a show that doesn't have as good a narrative if the payoff is worth it. And I'm going to explain what a payoff is pretty much using Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious. So think of the marshmallows as like the action, the conflict, the stuff that you'll see clips of on YouTube. And the non-marshmallows to be everything else that's not on YouTube. Like, you know, the building up the plot, the narrative, rising action, the setting, stuff like that. you know? Now, the goal is to get a good ratio of the narrative, story, plot, and the action, conflict, etc. You could put those two together and you get something magical. Pun intended. Now, if you have too many non-marshmallow bits, you might not like the experience. And if you got too many marshmallows, you also might not like the experience. Everything requires balance, you know? And when you look at Dragon Ball had a narrative, somewhat. It wasn't like a compelling narrative in comparison to some like its competitors in anime, but it was good enough to where you could watch it. And you know what broke that narrative up? When they would hit the crap out of each other, because that's why a lot of people watch Dragon Ball Z. That's why, like, seriously, black people know what Dragon Ball Z is. Like, when I go to black Twitter and I see memes of Dragon Ball, I am laughing inside because I'm like, wow. Like, they are admitting that they like Dragon Ball. Like, seriously. If you go up to any black person, you look at any anime, they're like, that's Dragon Ball Z, ain't it? I'm not making this up. So, how I feel about Dragon Ball Super? It's pretty much in this picture here. It's like having all non-marshmallows, or scarce marshmallows, when you pour that bowl of Lucky Charms. Which leads us to Strike 3. Do you even Super Saiyan 2, bruh? Now, in a recent episode, they brought Future Trunks back, and then, like, he goes Super Saiyan 2. Evident by, like, the sparks. And then Goku's like, oh, you going Super Saiyan 2? I'm gonna go Super Saiyan 2 too. And then he transforms, and yeah, do you see the sparks? He's Super Saiyan 2, right? And it's like, wow, did they just do that for real? Let's break this down. Goku's saying that Trunks went Super Saiyan 2. And this is evident by the sparks or electricity that comes up when they charge. For the characters that don't have like original designs, they just put the sparks there and it's like, okay, they're Super Saiyan 2. That's how you signify it. Goku says, I'm going to go Super Saiyan 2 as well. And then he goes Super Saiyan 2 and he has the hair and the sparks. But he's not Super Saiyan 2. Because Goku has his own Super Saiyan 2 design. And he has had this design since 1996. It is 2016. And there are a lot of examples about how to get the difference between Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2. Like, there are a lot. They've been doing it for a while. And for Dragon Ball Super to mess this up in 2016, something that's been established since 1996, it's pretty pathetic. Pretty pathetic. And I know some of you might be thinking I'm splitting hairs, but this is a pretty big difference. If you look at the multiplier for the Super Saiyan and the multiplier for Super Saiyan 2, it affects the plot. And, you know, Super Saiyan takes your base form and it multiplies it times 50. And Super Saiyan 2 doubles that. So it should be times 100. I'm not an expert at math, but I think I can figure that out. That's a pretty significant difference, you know? So this is important because when you take into if you take into consideration that Gohan as a Super Saiyan pretty much got his butt kicked by Cell, but then when he went to Super Saiyan 2, he kicked Cell's butt. It's really important. So if you're looking at this fight and you're seeing Super Saiyan Goku pretty much handle Super Saiyan 2 Trunks, Trunks is gonna look weak as hell in comparison. Because I'm like, wow, man, you're Super Saiyan 2 and Goku's Super Saiyan. I mean, like, he's matching you right now. Trunks, what have you been doing with your life? Why are you even here? Speaking of Trunks, let's go ahead and address this elephant. Black Goku. Hold up. My bad. Wrong picture, man. So, we know what happens when you take a hero and you essentially make them evil. As shown with the evil Ryu and violent Ken from Capcom Street Fighter series. It's a common thing. You probably even seen it in Scott Pilgrim. There are other examples, but I gave 2, so that's good enough. If you know any, you can put them in the comments below or not. It doesn't matter. But then why don't we just do evil Goku? Well, that's pretty simple. It's already been explored, you know? It's already been, oh, what if Goku wasn't, like, good? What if he didn't hit his head? And what if he was just evil Saiyan? It's been done twice. So you pretty much have the Goku that everyone knows, the hero Goku, as I will call him for this. We have the anti-hero Goku, which is his father Bardock. You know, same hairstyle. They just changed his personality to be more aligned with the anti-hero. And then we have the flat-out villain Goku and Turles. Same hairstyle, but Goku's evil, pretty much. So when we know those two already exist, what is his new Goku form supposed to do? Like, what is Black Goku, or whatever his name's going to be, what is he bringing to the table? Because the villain Goku we had, he's pretty beast. I'm not going to even lie. Like, Trio Might, you know, it's one of my favorite movies. It was very entertaining because Turles was a jerk. He was pretty brutal with his combinations. And man, he slaps the crap out of the Z Warriors. And you really feel as though they're going to lose. He brings that tension. He brought it. And this new guy, what is he bringing? Oh, what is he bringing? He's bringing the edge. He's so edgy, man. You know, he got hit and he started laughing. Oh, oh yeah, not to mention this. Super Saiyan Rose. I'll be speaking more on this later. I'm not going to even address it right now. But it's coming. Don't worry. It's coming. So pretty much we have anti-hero Goku, villain Goku, and now emo Goku. At least that's what I'm thinking it's going to be. Dragon Ball community, let's have a talk. Dragon Ball has been around for 30 years, right? There's some figures I was considering purchasing from eBay to like celebrate the 30 years of Dragon Ball. We know that Dragon Ball Super is currently on episode 51. Now, where were the other Dragon Ball shows at episode 51? When we go back to the original Dragon Ball, we're talking about they're on that episode with the pirate robot. That I'm pretty sure you've seen the design for the robot if you like played the Legacy of Goku 2. Like it's like one of those minion enemies. So we're pretty much there with Dragon Ball. In Dragon Ball Z, we are pretty much in the Namek Saga. I got the episode listed here. But to be fair, Dragon Ball Z had a lot of filler. So if we are just going by like non-filler, we'll take a look at Dragon Ball Kai, which would be more accurate. At episode 51, Goku and Frieza are about to engage in their final battle. If you go to Dragon Ball GT, they are in the Shadow Dragon Saga at episode 51. And speaking of Dragon Ball GT, I know a lot of people thought that Super was going to crush Dragon Ball GT, and I know that it's common knowledge that Dragon Ball GT, quote-unquote, sucks within the Dragon Ball community. But 51 episodes in, GT had brought us a new transformation. Not a recolor of hair, a new transformation that paid homage to the original Dragon Ball, and they tried to tie it with Dragon Ball GT. And they also brought back the Giant Ape. You know, that was pretty much in the Saiyan Saga, and then they just let it go. And they made it make sense. Like, they paid tribute to essentially Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and then try to, like, wrap up the story. And they had some pretty good ideas with arcs. Like, the Super 17 arc, bringing all the villains from Hell, was a great idea. The Shadow Dragon arc, making all the Dragon Balls, all the wishes they made evil, essentially. Making the Dragon Balls evil, and then having the Z Fighters fight them. Excellent idea. Both of those were great ideas. They were just executed poorly. What could have improved Dragon Ball GT? Pretty simply, number one, if they would not have turned Goku into a kid, that pretty much cheapened the whole experience of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and watching Goku grow and get experience. It just kind of shat on that. So, like, if they wouldn't have turned him into a kid, I think it would have been better. And also, with Dragon Ball GT, they had one overpowered character, dwarfing the rest of the cast, to where they would just stand back and be like, oh my gosh, Goku's so powerful, isn't he? That sucked. Like, the other characters had got development in Z, and they deserved to get some spotlight. So I would have put them up to be able to get further development, to show that they were still training, that they were still trying to be tough, you know? Put Goku in the back burner just a little bit. He already had plenty of development. Let some of the other characters shine. Like, pretty much the saying goes for the two arcs, If they would have had Goku a little bit less involved and had more of the Z Fighters in to help with the threat, that would have been great. Like, if I would have seen the Z Fighters fighting some old enemies, that would have been great. And seeing them fight against the Shadow Dragons, besides just Super Saiyan 4 Goku fixing everything, that would have been great. But I know I'm getting a little bit off topic, and I'll probably just explain what could improve GT in another video. But the TLDR is pretty much Dragon Ball GT, like Devil May Cry 2, brought worthwhile ideas, and they actually moved their series forward. However, they weren't perfect, and they get a lot of criticism because of that. And I think they deserve a degree of praise, even with the criticism. They are not free from criticism. Unlike Dragon Ball Super, if you criticize that, you're not a Dragon Ball fan. It's kind of reminded me of the Church of Catcom a little bit, you know. I think it's called like the Church of Toriyama. You know, whatever he does is just gold. You can't oppose it. So 51 episodes in, and what has Dragon Ball Super brought to the table? 2 overpowered characters, and Goku and Vegeta with their new Super Saiyan form, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. Pretty much dwarfing the rest of the cast to where they just stand around with their thumbs up their butt like, oh man, I can't wait for Goku and Vegeta to solve this problem. That was the same mistake GT made. I don't see no one calling it out on Dragon Ball Super. And Black Goku, or whatever his official name is going to be. We'll just call him the Edgelord for now. And Super Saiyan hair with different colors. Pretty much. That is their contributions. Oh yeah, and speaking of Capcom, Street Fighter called. So, what has Dragon Ball Super brought to the table, guys? Like, if we compare it to other anime shows, with deeper plots, more developed characters, they finished in less than 51 episodes. The Mobile Suit Gundam series, the original one, Zeta Gundam, even Gundam 00. Gundam 00 went through 2 seasons. Wrapped up an entire story in the time that Dragon Ball Super has been out now. One Punch Man killed it in 12 episodes. Trigun, 26. Outlaw Star, 26. Gurren Lagann, 26. Cowboy Bebop, 26. Space Dandy, 26. Dragon Ball Super is 51 episodes in right now. Like, it's not old. It's not new anymore. We've waited. It's not doing anything. So my question is, why is Dragon Ball Super getting a pass for this? 51 episodes in, and it really hasn't accomplished much. That is unacceptable. If this was any other anime except Dragon Ball, people would be jumping all over it right now. They would be talking all types of noise about it. But because it's a sacred cow known as Dragon Ball, you can't talk about it without having Dragon Ball fans just come in, no, you're wrong. Why are you even here criticizing the video, bruh? Like, we're just trying to have a good time, man. You're sitting here bringing it in and like criticizing like what's missing from the show, and that's not as good as the old one. If you love the old one so much, go back and watch that. Like, leave us to watch Super. I swear. You know what the Dragon Ball community is looking like now? Yeah, this is what the Dragon Ball community is looking like. I said it. Because, I mean, I'm going to be real. Seeing, like, stuff like this reminds me of stuff like this. Oh, man, please, pause the video. Take a second to read this. Just take a second. You'll probably get a laugh. Unless you was a person that did some stuff like this. In which case, you're going to get butthurt. I'm sorry. But still, funny. Which is very similar to the whole original character Do Not Steal thing. From, like, DeviantArt. Which is hilarious. My God, seriously. This is what Dragon Ball Z feels like right now. Like, this is possibly where it's going to be going in the future. And if it is, I want off now. I don't even want to be on the train. Get me off right now. Because this is ridiculous. It's really looking like the Sonic fan base. Like, I think the Sonic fan base has invaded the Dragon Ball community. I think they are the Dragon Ball community now. Because they have all the original characters out there. I mean, seriously. Look at Black Goku's design. And I want you to tell me that he does not look like someone who, like, Shadow the Hedgehog designed him. Like, I could just see someone playing Dragon Ball Z game where you could customize your character. And I was like, I'm gonna make an evil Goku. You know what? Instead of wearing orange and blue, that's too bright. I'm gonna just wear all black. You know, then I'm gonna be evil. I'm gonna be evil Super Saiyan. I see that unfolding. And you know what I blame for this? The Dragon Ball Z games. Yes, they have a part in this, and I will explain. You know, back then, when you used to play Dragon Ball Z games, you just had the story of Dragon Ball, and that was it. Whether you liked it or hated it, that's what you got. You had to play through the Saiyan Saga, to the Frieza Saga, to wherever the game ended, or be it Cell, Boo, whatever. You went and you replayed the same stuff. And each game would try to do it a little bit different. They wouldn't use the same dialogue. They would have like their own little spin on it. But when we get to these new games, they have taken that away. What they have done is try to take you away from the Dragon Ball story. And be like, oh, you already know the Dragon Ball story. Like, let's just see what would happen if. That big if. What if? Like, the whole premise of Xenoverse is you're going back and fixing the Dragon Ball Z timeline. Because what if something else happened? And you know it's bad when you're buying Dragon Ball games and you want to play with your own character. It's just like, oh, that was one of the main reasons I didn't get Xenoverse. I'm like, I'd rather just play as Goku and just play through the story, to be honest. I really don't. I don't want to create my own character in Dragon Ball Z world. I just want to play as a Dragon Ball Z cast. But the new games, that's what they're capitalized on. And from this picture I'm showing you from Ultimate Tenkaichi, this is where the shift happened. Notice Goku's in the forefront, because they gotta have Goku. That's like the flagship. Now they put the created characters in front of the Z Warriors. You know, they're like, you know who's more important than the Z Warriors? These created guys over here. You are more important than Z Warriors. Forget them. But a lot of the fault lies with Xenoverse. And pretty much here's why. Like I said, it's Dragon Ball Z starring you and your original character. See, original character. And I'm going to admit, man, some of these custom characters, original characters are funny. And I'm going to have a couple of them up now because they're pretty awesome. This is why creative character sometimes works well. You know, you get some creative fans from like different fan bases and they try to make you laugh with their characters. You know, people having a good time. But then eventually we dwell into the edgelords, the evil versions of characters, if you will. And that's pretty much what Black Goku is. Black, whatever you want to call him, he's just evil Goku. And we already had evil Goku, so that's just being lazy. So yeah, I know companies try to make money, and I accept that. That's cool. That's what they do. But I mean, I just want them to try a little bit harder. You'll notice this in Marvel as well, where like the Deadpool Mercs for Money. It essentially took Deadpool, who's been rising in popularity since this movie, and they just put out all these different colors of them. And then this is a push merchandise, so you can go out and buy the new multicolored Deadpool stuff, so Marvel can get some more money. And we're seeing the exact same thing happen with Dragon Ball Super. Look at the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, now Super Saiyan Rose. What do you think they're doing? They're taking their base figures, panning over them, selling them to make cash. Cash grab. So that's why we're getting these new lazy forms that aren't really anything new or different like Super Saiyan 4 was. Not to mention that they are hitting you digitally for money as well. If you look at Dragon Ball Xenoverse, the main reason I didn't get Xenoverse was because it has a season pass. And when a game has a season pass, you already know there's content from your game you're not getting. You're paying $65 full price for an incomplete product that you have to pay extra for. So, for those of you unaware, games are actually $100 now. They're not $65, they're really $100 because that's how much the companies charge you via the season pass. So, you see they have their season pass here for $24.99 today, as in August 19th, 2016, this season pass is still $24.99 despite this game coming out so long ago. What comes in the season pass? GT Pack 1, $9.99. You get GT Goku, Pan, and GT Trunks. That is $3.33 per character for a game you already spent $65 on. GT Pack 2, also $9.99. What do you get? East Shinran, Nova Shinran, Mira Toa, $2.50 per character. And Resurrection of F Pack, $9.99. And what do you get? Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta, Golden Frieza, and Jocko. Once again, $2.50 per character. And you know that they had this plan before they made the game. They just added it in so they can get those extra $10 out of you. Because like, oh man, the Resurrection of F movie came out. Now I want to play Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. Let me go buy the DLC. Bam, extra $10 for stuff that they already did. And we know that this is going to happen because Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2 has been announced. I wonder what they're going to have here. So, already, Season Pass, it exists. Bam. Game's not even out. You're not even getting a complete product. And you know people are going to run out and buy it because it's Dragon Ball. That's just how it works. Accepted it. Don't even get mad about it. And if you go to the PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, whatever that sells this digitally, you'll see that they are already saying what they're going to give you. And if you pre-order, if you spend that money, you're going to get access to a character from Dragon Ball Super, along with some other stuff. So now they're holding characters from Dragon Ball Super pretty much behind a paywall. And this is because Dragon Ball Super isn't about telling a worthwhile story. They're going to stall so they can add characters in the game so they can just hit the wallet. And people are going to buy it too. So it is what it is on that. They already got 4 DLC packs announced for a game that's coming out in what, October? 4 packs of DLC. None of this can make it into the game before the final cut. None of it. Alright, cool. Cool. I'll pay $10 for it. Or the Season Pass is probably going to be like $30. The main difference between Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2, now that Xenoverse 2 is coming out, they got new merchandise for you. They're going to have Super Saiyan Rose merchandise. Don't worry, it's coming. Rose merchandise is coming. The black figures, they're just going to be painted over Goku figures that didn't sell. They're going to have the seasons of Dragon Ball Super, like the Battle of God arc, the Resurrection of F arc. They're going to come out with those on DVD for you to buy, which you already own the movies, and these have poor quality animation, so the movies will be superior quality, in my opinion, but some people prefer the show, whatever. They'll sell that to you. That's why they have the 13 and 14 episode season break, so you can push those, you can go push someone to buy those DVDs for you if you don't buy them for yourself. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is coming out, and you know they're going to be pushing the content from Dragon Ball Super in there. It's like, oh, look at Super, you can fix this situation, you can fix this what-if scenario, and they're going to put that behind the Season Pass. So pretty much, they're going ham-fisted on your anus as they rape you for pretty much everything you're worth. Rape you or your wallet. That's pretty much it. They're screwing you guys over, like really bad. So pretty much, this is what Dragon Ball Z was back in the day. It's a shame to have to say back in the day. Shows how old I am. And this is where Dragon Ball Z is now. And this is possibly where it's going, or at least it seems to me where it's going to be going. So, like I said, the reason I don't support Super, it's been 27 episodes retelling the movies, likely to increase DVD sales. The quality of animation is lacking. Doesn't respect Dragon Ball Z lore. With the Super Saiyan 2 example I gave, the new transformations are lazy reskins, likely to increase merchandise sales, and are screwing over gamers with DLC. Which is why Dragon Ball Super seems more interested in sales than telling a worthwhile story for the fans, thus making it a cheap cash grab, and in my opinion, it's shaping up to be worse than Dragon Ball GT. I mean, GT finished in 64 episodes. Dragon Ball Super's on episode 51. Where will it be in 64 episodes? Will it redeem itself? I'm doubting it. Not because I'm hating on the show, but I'm being critical of the show, and I doubt that they could turn this show around in 13 episodes. And that's just being honest. You're probably going to get more of the same. Not a lot happening. They're probably just throwing a new color form. Maybe Super Saiyan Carrot. You know? Anyways, that's my 2 cents. Do you support Dragon Ball Super? Once again, you can discuss that in the comment section below. I'll probably be there to talk as well if anybody, comments down there. And I'm expecting to get some backlash from some butthurt Dragon Ball fans for me insulting their Lord and Savior, the sacred cow known as Dragon Ball, because you can't criticize it, because then you're just not a true fan. And that pretty much wraps up this video. Guys, I hope you have a nice day. I'll see you guys later.